Let's take a look at an example of both an even function and an odd function and some of the differences we should expect to see in their graphs. So this is a graph with which you are probably familiar. This is y equals x squared minus 3. It has our parabolic pattern that we would expect from a quadratic. And if I go through our test for even and odd functions, I imagine substituting negative x into the place of x. Whoops, excuse me. And when I do that, I end up back with the original function with which I started. That squaring that's right here negates the presence of that opposite, and I'm back to where I started. One of the defining characteristics of an even function. Because the opposite produces the same output as the original input. So if I input x, I get the same thing as inputting negative x. That's where I'll see symmetry over the y-axis. I could imagine folding the graph right on the y-axis, and I get the same point here that I would anticipate seeing over here on the other side, just with that opposite as the x-coordinate. This symmetry is a result of the substitution shown right there. Now let's take a look at an odd function. In an odd function, when we do that substitution, we end up with the opposite of the result, meaning that if xy is in the graph of the original function, so I'll just place it somewhere over here, xy, that also means that the opposite of both is somewhere on the graph. So down here, I would expect to see negative x, negative y. This is symmetry about the origin. The third quadrant and the first quadrant match up in such a way that I could imagine rotating this entire graph 180 degrees this way, and that bottom left portion of the graph will match up perfectly. And incidentally, if I do the same thing to this top part up here, he'll rotate down there and match up with this perfectly. So a slightly different kind of symmetry comes from an odd function, where we expect to see first and third quadrants matching up, versus what we saw in an even function, where we get that nice, easily recognizable symmetry over the y-axis.